Hi there, my name is Sian Cruz and I'm a singer, choir leader and performance maker based in the UK. I'm here to introduce our first Black Lives Matter commissioning project that Fran Andre, Dr. Kathy Bullock and myself have devised over the past few months and which we would now like to share with you and invite you to take part. Over the past 18 months, choir leaders have been reflecting on the issues of racism and colonialisation, how it features in our world of choral music making, and finding ways to engage, learn, and positively move forward. So, the structure of this project is simple. We want to commission 8 black composers, 4 from the UK, 4 from the US, and pay them properly to write us 8 songs for the choirs and singing groups in the UK and in the US as well. The economics of this are very straightforward. If you'd like to take part, we'd suggest that choirs who can contribute the equivalent of about £15 per person. If you are in a choir where this isn't possible because of the economic situation of your members, you can still take part. Just let us know when you contact us to express your interest. For this to work though, we really do need most people to contribute. And how you raise that £15 per person is entirely up to you and your choir members. You might want to do it individually or fundraise as a group, or that's up to you. So the songs we commission, they're going to be teachable and learnable by ear, and there'll be accompanying sound files and scores so you can learn the songs. There'll be no obligation to sing all the songs. You might find that 2 or 3 work really well for your group, and there's no time scale for learning them or any big performances planned at the moment. How and when you sing these songs is entirely up to you. So a bit of background. When some of us community musicians and choir leaders were starting out in the early 1980s here in the UK, the performing arts scene was trying to find alternatives to traditional approaches to performance and music making. There was a lot of experimentation and lots of approaches fed into this, but so much was inspired by black musicians and performing artists moving to or visiting the UK from South Africa, from Zimbabwe, from the US, and sharing Afrocentric approaches to music making. Women like Eze Barnwell from Sweet Honey and the Rock, Stella Chiweshi from Zimbabwe, or Pinase Saul from South Africa, just to name a few, running singing workshops in London, Cardiff, with halls full of fledgling, enthusiastic choir leaders. Music was shared and passed on, mostly with no money changing hands. And many of the songs that we learned and others are part of the repertoire of lots and lots of choirs and singing groups in the UK. One of the downsides of the oral tradition, of course, is that composers and songmakers often don't get credited or properly paid for their work, and that's why we've created this commissioning project. These African and African American practitioners inspired a lot of us at the time to start up as community musicians, song and choir leaders, and hugely influenced our practice and how we teach. The Afrocentric values that Eze Barnwell talks about in her introduction to singing in the African American tradition highlights so many of the values that went on to be at the heart of the community choir movement, the importance of inclusivity and community that the singing builds, and the way that the focus on parts can shift, allowing different voices to be heard, improvisation, listening and learning by ear, and the deep connection through music that can be built in a group. So much of what inspired us came from those Afrocentric sources. So our project is in part about acknowledging the debt owed to black music makers, composers and songwriters, and how they inspired community choirs, and finding a way of creating something that values, credits and pays black composers properly. So now I'm going to hand over to Kathy.
Thank you, Sean, and greetings, everyone. I'm Kathy Bullock, professor, teacher, scholar, performer, and song leader specializing in African American music. I believe this Black Lives Matters project is a bold, exciting, and forward-thinking one, and I'm honored to be a part of it. Fran so aptly says that this effort is both symbolic and practical. Now, why symbolic? I've grown up steeped in the rich culture of African American community. For us, as well as for others of the African diaspora and our African ancestors, and for over hundreds of years, our music has been our source of life, our power, our communication, our hope, and our healing. In spite of, and perhaps as a result of, the racism and oppression that has been experienced by Black people over centuries, here in the US, Great Britain, and other parts of the world, Black people have created phenomenal music and made contributions that have impacted communities all over the world. Yet, the music created by Black people, such as spirituals, blues, R&B, rap, has often been appropriated and even embraced, while the people themselves who created the music have been left out, demonized, abused, even destroyed. Black composers have won national awards only to have them taken away when people find out they're Black. And things such as covers have been created where white groups take the credit and the profits while the actual Black composers and performers are penniless. Now, all this is happening and going on and on while people of courage keep fighting to make a positive change. So as we look back at this history and look forward to envision our future, while we can't go back, we can go forward with awareness and with plans for building equity and empowerment for everyone. That's what brings us to this exciting program. It's a message of symbolic appreciation for and honor given to those in the African diaspora who have contributed so much and received so little recognition. And practically speaking, what a way to bring in new voices and fresh perspectives using talented contemporary Black composers that are still often unappreciated, but continue to build on that historical legacy of African peoples. And that is creating community, striving for freedom, and in spite of all odds, spreading hope and love for all. It makes me think of the song, "Reach Out and Touch Somebody's Hand, make this world a better place if you can." And I believe we can.
Thank you so much, Kathy, and thank you, Sean, for describing our project so beautifully. And all that's left for me to say is we really need your participation. So please come on board with this project and support it as generously as you can. Please let your choir leader or your singing group leader know what your donation level will be. And let's come together and create a wonderful new way of honouring Black composers for their work. Let's set a new precedent going forward to really honour music of the African diaspora, and also as a gesture looking back for all of the wonderful music that we have enjoyed. Gospel music, music from South Africa, from West Africa. It's a real practical gesture that we can all make to say thank you for all of that wonderful music that we've enjoyed up to now as well. So yes, please do support this project generously. We really appreciate your support, and please do share this with other choirs and other singing groups that you know of who may not have heard of this project. Let's make this as big and successful as possible, and we really look forward to commissioning some wonderful works for you to enjoy singing in your groups. Thank you very much.